This section is about creating your resume and makes references to making appointments at career services. Not all students are eligible to attend career services appointments or use Handshake. To confirm your eligibility, please see the Who We Serve page on the Career Services website. In the following module, you'll learn what to include in your resume as you prepare to apply to a job, school, internship, or any other experience that requires a resume. Whether you are starting from scratch or just looking to update your resume, review the following slides to ensure that you have everything you need before applying. Remember, it's always best to have variations of your resume, especially if you are applying to jobs that are different from one another. Tailoring your resume to each specific job you apply to will increase your chances of landing an interview rather than submitting a general resume each time. When you have finished your resume, be sure to check for any typos, misspellings, grammatical errors, and that the formatting is consistent. When you are finished and would like Career Services to review it, schedule an appointment with the appropriate advisor. Now, let's learn how to put together a resume. In this section, you'll want to include all personal contact information. To begin, it's always best to put your full name in a bigger font compared to the rest of your resume so that it stands out. All other text should not be smaller than 10-point fonts. Additionally, make sure all margins are at least half an inch. Below your name, you should include a professional email address, a phone number, permanent address, LinkedIn URL, and any other personal website or portfolio that would help whoever is reviewing your resume to see any projects you have worked on or completed. You can set it up as pictured here, or have everything written out in 1 to 2 lines with vertical slashes in between your email, phone number, and so on. In this section, you want to highlight your education background and all the degrees you have received. List your education starting with your most recent degree. High school is not necessary to include unless there's something you accomplished that directly correlates to a specific job to which you're applying. Be sure to include the university, the type of degree you received or will be receiving, the location of your school, your major and your minor, your cumulative GPA. Below that, in the same section, you can add relevant coursework that pertains to the specific job that you are applying to. So the coursework may vary if you apply to different jobs. This shows employers that you have experience in certain areas, especially if it is listed in the job posting. Additionally, you can include a study abroad experience in this section. Make sure to include the school name, what you studied, and when you went. For work experience, you should list any jobs or internships, starting with your current position, that are relevant to where you are applying. Remember to list the company name, location, how long you have been working there or have worked there, your job title, and then include 3 to 4 bullet points describing your duties performed. Typically, you should start each bullet point with a strong action verb and try to quantify when possible. When using verbs, remember to use the present tense if you are currently at the job and the past tense for all past jobs. Try not to repeat any verbs throughout your resume. No punctuation is needed at the end of each bullet point, nor should you be using any personal pronouns. For example, instead of writing, I supervised 3 of my work-study students, write, supervised 3 work-study students. In this section, you can list out all the skills you have, from languages to knowledge and proficiency in computer programs. This area also allows you to show the employer what you are skilled at, including keywords that are in the job posting that will help your resume stand out. Here, you can list out soft skills as well that describe the type of worker you are. The following sections may vary depending on what degree you have and what jobs you are looking into. You do not have to include every section, but rather look at your experience and decide what information is going to help you land the job. If you are including specific projects and research, make sure to list them separately, or list them together if they are related to one another. You'll want to make sure to model the project sections like your work experience section, using verbs that explain what it is you actually did for that particular project or research, rather than writing a description of what the project is. Be sure to include where it was, how long you worked on the project, what your title was, and brief points about the work you did. For any remaining sections of your resume that you want to include, for example, honors and activities, volunteer work, presentations and publications, leadership and activities, be sure to format it similar to the example in this slide. When mentioning presentations and publications, be descriptive as possible, and remember, quantify when you can. For example, present it to 15,000 engineers, and so on. With leadership, talk about any clubs that you are a part of and what your role is or was. Include the amount of time you spent or are spending doing that particular activity. Lastly, if you wish to include more personal information concerning your hobbies, rather than saying things like music and dancing, be more specific, such as salsa dancing, merengue, or whatever your passion is. The more specific you are, the better the recruiter or employer will feel like they know you before the actual interview. For more information on how to format your resume and to browse through other examples of resumes for different schools and majors, visit the Career Services website.